You know, financial abuse is just on the rise. It's a tsunami. It's here. So let me get started. Okay. So one of the stats that I found says that home improvement products are projected to reach $269 billion, and that was 2012. So I imagine it's even greater now. And most contractors, as we know, are honest. Most people are honest, but there are a minority of people in any setting that are not honest. They're those people that hone in on vulnerable after natural disasters. So after the Katrina disaster, you know, you can imagine that maybe the dishonest contractor said, wow, this could be a great place for us to get some business because everybody needs to rebuild. So they flock to the site. If somebody has a history of home improvements, they're more likely to get more calls for home improvements. You know, just this past weekend I was home visiting my parents. They just had some work done on their plumbing system. And my mother got a call, and it was a contractor. And she actually said, without me saying a word, she actually said, now these contractors are calling me all the time. So I imagine this is what's happening to a lot of the folks that you serve. So more stats, home improvement scams ranked among the Better Business Bureau top 10 consumer cons for 2011. Contractors have the #1 in consumer inquiries to the Better Business Bureau for the last 5 years. And the complaints ranked 3rd by the Consumer Federation of America for 2010. So this is why it's so very important for all of you to be educated in terms of how this happens and why it happens. So how many people are abused? This said that for every 1 report of abuse that we know about, there are 5 that are unreported. Okay. I guarantee you, of all the older people you know, somebody has been the victim of abuse. The more recent data actually shows us for every 1 case known, 23 are unknown. Okay. And the biggest statistic shows that for every 1 case of financial abuse known, 44 remain unknown. So it's never reported to authorities. People are embarrassed, they're ashamed that they've been taken advantage of, and it's just never known to authorities or social services or anyone. Financial abuse can be intentional, so we definitely have scammers, and it may be unintentional. So let's say that perhaps a contractor thinks everything's going fine, and Mrs. So-and-so says, yes, I want my roof repaired, and she has no particular questions, she's not really into details, and she signs the form without any problems. He may not realize that she has dementia. Okay? But to the extent that we want to help educate people about what to look for, I think that's really what you're doing, and you're going a little bit deeper to make sure that the people have the knowledge they need so it doesn't happen. And that's really admirable. How do we apply this knowledge to protecting your consumers? So I think at this point we're going to start talking about some possible ways to approach this. So let's just say you start off by saying, let's verify some information and let them know that we're going to be talking for a few minutes because I want you to be protected. I want to make sure this is a good decision for you. And then make sure that it's a good time to talk. Sometimes people get, especially that might have some dementia, they may not think as well later in the day. So the morning time might be the best time to get them fresh. You may ask, can you hear me okay? Because so many people have hearing problems over the phone. So in general, you want to ask open-ended questions. And this is how you're really going to know that they understand what's going on. In general, to avoid a litany of information, so present one idea at a time. I mean, you don't want to rush people who are having trouble hearing or maybe just trying to understand what you're saying. Ask them questions to understand the decision they're making. Understanding the options. So what if you don't repair your air conditioner right now? I mean, this might seem basic, but you're going to get some information you can work with. And why do you think this is the best thing for you to do now? So this could even maybe not apply to an appliance that's not working, but it might apply to energy efficient windows, right? So you could live for another 5 years with different windows. Like, why now? Why is this a good time for you to replace your windows? And then, are there any reasons why you might not want to do this right now? And they might come out and say, well, I don't know if I can afford it, or I might be moving in 3 months, you know, but at least you're sort of trying to identify if they've thought through this decision and to see maybe there are other options in their situation. And then, who manages the financial decisions in your home? You could say, let's review the conditions of the contract. You know, do you feel that you understand the contract that you signed? Because, you know, financial contracts can be pretty confusing to anyone. And just normalize it and see if they can tell you back basically the points that you want them to understand. I think this approach would give you an idea of whether they're having difficulty understanding the decisions they're making.